Welcome to Comfortable Lies. I'm Harry Felker. I'm your host here, and we're going to be continuing on the season 3 theme of how did we get from there to here. Today we're going to be talking about framing the discussion. Framing is a sociology term as a morally neutral or value neutral term, meaning that you're keeping a discussion to a certain subject. When you propose two options and you give equal time to the pros and cons of each option. Now, granted, some have more pros, some have more cons. I'm not saying that everything has to be have equal representation points. I'm just saying that everything has to be put out on the table, given perfect information or as perfect information as you have at the time. That framing is completely innocuous, completely harmless. It's not a good or a bad thing. It's just a thing, right? On the flip side of that, we have the psychological term, which becomes a evil, dark, manipulative thing, and that's called the framing effect. Now, what the framing effect is it's a method of framing a question, a problem, a solution to cater to someone's specific cognitive bias. And what that means is that they're basically telling you what you want to hear and leaving out the inconvenient truth. They're giving you the comfortable lie and leaving out the inconvenient truth. See how it fits in with the whole title? I mean, it's great. Some synergy going on there. It's awesome. Why do people do this? Why does media do this? Why do politicians do this? Why does the traveling faith healer do things like this? Commit to the framing effect in order to engage cognitive bias. Well, when you close options off to people and you offer just very divisive roads to follow, you can frame those roads in a sense that allows them only to really go one way. I mean, it's like the question of, would you rather have $1 million or to be thrown from a cliff? Fuck you, I want $1 million and I don't want to be thrown from a cliff. Choice is obvious. When you engage in framing, you're taking a much less nuanced position than even that. And that's remarkable that people fall for this in this day and age. But it's been something that's been going on since, I don't know, the dawn of civilization. So the framing effect takes shape in two ways. They're known as positive and negative. And there was a study done. The link is going to be down there in the description and on the website for you to go and take a look at the study for yourself. Positive framing is used by marketing a lot. Act now and get a discount is positive framing. There's nothing negative about it. Generally, when you're dealing with information media, politicians, con men, you see more negative framing. And there's a reason why. Positive framing basically suggests that people avoid risk. Why pay more? Discounts here. Let's take that discount, right? When you deal with negative framing, the framing effect put in a negative light, you are looking for people to engage in risk. If you want people to engage in your very risky economic plan, you highlight things like unemployment, homelessness, and things like that. There's a reason why politicians and the media says the things that they say. And it's usually not to give you the full picture of the information, and it's not usually for your benefit. I'm just going off of, historical trends here. So how does the framing effect really work? Well, what happens is people who are giving the information, people who are doing the framing, automatically are closing off options. This is what we see with faith healers, is the option that I'm not a faith healer, or the option that God cannot heal you. That's not an option. There's something wrong with you. You dirty little fornicator, or whatever the fuck it is that they want to pin on people who can't get out of their wheelchair, even though the faith healer shook his hands and blew the wind of God at him and shoved him on the floor, because that works. That ends paralysis, right? The problem is never the power of the superstition. It's the person who just isn't cooperating because they're still in a wheelchair. It's a big fuck you to all the Timmies in their wheelchairs in the world when, their parents are determined that God is good, God is great, God is real, and God is going to heal Timmy. And then the guy who brings the God's healing goes, no, Timmy doesn't have enough faith. He must be looking at nudie mags under his bed. All right, and we look at that, we know that's a con. We know that that's bullshit. But when the media does the exact same thing, we all of a sudden, I don't know, become stupid. The media example of closing off arguments had to do with maskings and lockdowns. They started it before any of the lockdowns or masks were even a consideration. They would say things to the effect of, yeah, you need to wear a mask because if you don't wear a mask, you're going to kill grandma. All right? And then when reports were coming in that cases were rising, they were going, well, that's obviously because people aren't following mask protocols. They're not locking down. They're not quarantining. And places where cases weren't rising, they were saying, well, it's obvious because people are doing the right thing. Well, how is this any different than the faith healer? Because there was absolutely zero science to really back up any statement being made about COVID-19. It was still way too early. Science doesn't happen in 15 minutes. It takes months, it takes years to really understand these things. And they were making definitive treat as fact statements on something they knew nothing about, and were treating every anomaly as their solution being violated. So, relevance. The relevance of this is pretty obvious. I'd already mentioned things about masks and lockdowns and all that type of stuff. Here's the other relevant piece of this puzzle. So we'll put framing aside for a second, and we'll look at the real result of all of these lockdowns, these restrictions, the masking. In the history of human civilization, nay, humans in total, never has a wealth transfer of this size ever occurred. To the tune of trillions of dollars of wealth was unceremoniously transferred from the lower income 50% of this country, the United States, and this is only the United States. I can't really speak for any other country in the world, and handed to the top 1% and their political pets. That's the result of framing, especially in a negative light, because it makes you go into risky behavior, and the risky behavior was leveraging you, your children, and your grandchildren's future on the government providing you with a solution, and when all they really did was give money to the people they like, and everybody else is sitting there holding the receipt, expecting to pay the bills. This has been Comfortable Lies. Thank you for coming by. If you wish to help with these endeavors, I do have a Shopify store where you can buy merch. This is from the network, but we have a similar t-shirt for Comfortable Lies. You can also consider buying me a coffee. You can Cash App me. Maybe I'll send you lewd pictures. I don't know. And please, if you like this content, follow, subscribe, and leave a comment and give me a thumbs up. Thank you for coming by, and we'll see you next time. Bye.